Welcome to Letters from America, a road trip podcast seeking the Swedish heritage in the United States. I'm your host, Martin Warren, and with me today I have...
Tracey Beck. I'm the Executive Director of the American Swedish Historical Museum in Philadelphia.
Which we have parked the Volvo and we're inside the Airstream, ready to go.
Fantastic.
The reason why we're here is that I'm going on a journey across America to seek for all these things.
Yes.
And I'm starting here on the East Coast. From what I understand, is sort of where it all started from a Swedish perspective, right?
It is.
This area, Delaware, Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
So how did it all start? I know you got a map with you here.
I brought this old map from 1654, Per Lindström. So this is one of the earliest maps of the New Sweden colony, and it's a weird orientation for us today. This is the mouth of the Delaware River, so this is kind of south, and then you proceed along the river north. The reason I brought it is that the New Sweden colony, which many Americans don't even know existed between 1638 and 1655, is hard for people to picture.
Yeah.
But what you need to understand is it was a colony that went along a river. So it doesn't follow the state lines that we have today. It's a river-based colony along the Delaware River.
So the river was the natural heart of that colony.
Absolutely. Yeah. So basically, the colonists arrived in Wilmington, Delaware, established a fort, which also served as a church, and then settled along both sides of the Delaware River, eventually getting almost up to Trenton, New Jersey, which is on the other side of the river up there. And there were never more than about 500 colonists in the colony, but they were the first Europeans to settle in this area. The Netherlands had also claimed this territory for themselves, but they only established forts for trading. They really didn't have farms or settlements. They just were here for trading purposes. And so it was the Swedes who brought people to settle in this area.
That's just amazing. I didn't know that.
No?
No, I knew that we were here early, but I didn't know that we were sort of settling in that way compared to others who were here trading, like you said.
Yes, and it was a mercantile or a trading colony. Sweden wanted natural resources for the motherland, basically. Yeah. So what they ended up, it was exploratory at first. What are the things that are coming from America that would be helpful or useful in Sweden? And then it ended up being what all of the European nations were really looking for. Things like tobacco and fur were what was going back to Sweden.
Is it a coincidence that it ended up in this river, or was it just a thorough search for something that they really looked?
It's political intrigue, of course.
Of course. Okay, tell me more.
Peter Minuit, who established New Amsterdam for the Dutch up in the New York area, was on the outs with the Netherlands. And he had also explored another location for them on what they called the South River, which we call the Delaware River today. So he knew that the Dutch really hadn't taken advantage of that very good river location, and he made a pitch to the Swedes to have a colony there. And so then he negotiated for the establishment of the Swedish colony here in this area.
Like a business trade.
Oh, it was absolutely a business deal. It was done by, we think of it as a government thing, but it was really done by investors. The New Sweden Company was founded by investors, but that's how it was done in the 1600s. We're just not so aware of that today.
I'm always intrigued by the personality of these people who I think that's why I'm here, because there's a part of me who I almost get emotional when I think of it.
Yeah.
You know, the mentality of coming here to something more or less unknown, heard of. They read something, somebody told them, and they just leave everything to come here.
It's a risk.
It's a risk, but is there something we can see today that sort of unites these people who came to this place in this century that we're talking about, the first settlers.
Yeah.
Why did they come here?
I think they were coming for opportunity too. They were looking for those
For something
natural
better.
resources, economic opportunity. Some of the people who settled in the colony were Finns, ethnic Finns, who had gotten in trouble with the government. And so it was like, you can go to prison or you can go to America. What ended up happening was that most of the people who came as part of the New Sweden colony ended up thriving here and wanting to stay here. So even when the colony fell to the Dutch in 1655, most of the colonists decided to stay put and were here until William Penn came in the 1680s and past then. And that's really why the first museum devoted to what Swedes had done in America was founded here in Philadelphia 100 years ago. We're celebrating our 100th birthday.
I knew that because you told me. But we'll get into that. We're going to talk about the building that's outside here. I see it through the window. It's a marvelous building. But that was my next question, because it happened. This year we're celebrating the 250 years of the Declaration of Independence. And what we're talking about here with the Swedish is much earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. But then it just, in a way, when I hear about it and when I read about it, it's just, you said that they lost it to the Dutch. Mm-hmm. But it's also, I get the impression, I'm probably wrong, but I get the impression that it just also got abandoned in a way. They stopped. Is that correct? Or
They stopped being Swedish at a certain point. So
I mean, they stopped doing the sort of business thing back home. Is that they found their life here?
I actually don't know the answer to that. How much trade there was with Sweden after the colony lost, political control, after Sweden lost political control.
So that's what happened, really. No, but that's what happened, really. What you're saying there is that Sweden lost its political control to the Dutch.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep.
As a conflict or like a business treaty?
Well, what happened was the third governor of the New Sweden colony decided that he didn't like that the Dutch had a fort on the Delaware River, also trying to trade with the Native Americans. Yeah. And so he decided the Swedes were going to take over that fort. And they did, because it was not very well manned. Well, once they heard about that in New Netherland, up in what we call New York now, they said, "Oh, no, you don't." Yeah. And they were very much stronger there. They sent down a fleet of ships, and they took over all of the Swedish forts without a single shot being fired, because they were so outnumbered.
So that's what happened, really.
That's what happened.
They
were outnumbered.
Like a hostile takeover.
Yeah,
really.
So they got the trade back with the Lenape, but they really didn't have the resources to maintain control down here. So they let the Swedes govern themselves. It was called the Swedish Nation. They had their own court system just down the street from here. And they basically were left alone under the Dutch. Then when the British came, it was like a full takeover. The British came with lots of settlers, with lots of intention to develop the area. And when was that? The 1680s.
1680s.
And they very much worked with the Swedes. William Penn's translator with the Lenape was a Swede. They had to negotiate with Swedes to get the land that Philadelphia sits on today, because Swedes were already there. So the Swedes stayed, but there became a lot more intermarriage and things like that. And when the Church of Sweden stopped sending Swedish-speaking ministers, which wasn't until about the 1780s or 90s, that's when the Swedish language really died out here in this area. However,
and they get integrated in a way.
Yeah, they were integrated.
It's too much time, I think, to keep that up.
Absolutely.
It happens almost organically.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, I mean, it just happens. It happens today also. That
Absolutely.
Everything changes. Language
it's just
changes.
The natural course of things, really.
We mentioned the building.
Yes.
The building. It looks like for me, it looks very Swedish.
it's supposed to.
It is.
So
I was right. I'm happy. It looks like all of those things that we went to when I was in school.
Yeah.
Like a school trip museum or castle or something like that. Yeah.
It's actually
Mansion,
inspired by Eriksbergs Slott. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the town that is in, but I went to see it
I should know
when
that,
I was
but I
in
don't.
Sweden. It's okay. 17th century manor house design inspired. But everything that they did when they established the museum had both Swedish and American inspiration. So the center part looks like a 17th century Swedish manor house with a copper roof and a beautiful, off-white exterior,
Exactly.
stucco and limestone. And then our building has two curved decorative architectural elements coming off of it. And that was inspired by George Washington's home, Mount Vernon. Many people notice the resemblance of the cupola on our building to the cupola that's on Stockholm City Hall as well.
When I just glance at it from here, from the caravan, it could be with the fence and the lights and the trees. We could be in the central part of Stockholm right now, because it looks exactly like that. It could be like one of those old houses. There's an area in Stockholm called Kungsholmen.
Yeah.
Riddarholmen has a lot of these structures as well. So it's very interesting.
So it was never a house. It was started in 1926.
So it was never a house.
And
Okay.
completed in 1928. It was always built to be the museum.
Because that's also something that I want to learn from you. Because like I said, we're going on this. Me and my dog is going on this trip. So, is there a specific thing I can look for that you can say that's a typical Swedish heritage? That's a typical.
It's a little bit hard in our area if you're looking for like the New Sweden colony, because that's so long ago. It still exists in place names, especially street names. So just south of here, I often drive near on my way home. Governor Prince Boulevard. Governor Prince was the second governor of the New Sweden colony, for example. If you go out west from the city, you'll find Swedes Ford Road. So where Swedes crossed the river road. We have in Philadelphia, one of the oldest areas of the city, our Gamla stan, if you will, is called Queen Village. And when I ask Philadelphians, do you know why it's called Queen Village? Nobody really knows, but it's because of Queen Christina of Sweden.
Of course it is.
Okay, because King George was king when we were the colonies here, right? For England. In Delaware, we have many, many things named after Queen Christina. My husband works for the Christina School District. We have the Christina River, which obviously the Swedes named after their queen. It comes off the Delaware River right where they landed.
I know, like this structure I've seen on the log houses.
Yes, I was meant to mention that. Yeah.
But, please tell me about the log houses.
So basically, when the Swedes came here, they were building forts and homes that were completely log structures. So they were the first people in this country to be building log structures. And that was mostly because a lot of the settlers, as I mentioned before, were ethnic Finns, and they were building Finnish-style log cabins. The other architectural feature that's going to be very hard for you to notice as you drive that would indicate that an old house might date back to the Swedes are corner fireplaces. English people don't use corner fireplaces. They use central fireplaces. Their fireplaces are in the center of the building on the center of a wall. Almost always. The Swedes had corner of the room fireplaces. So if you go in an old house and can find evidence of a corner fireplace being
probably
there.
Swedish.
Yeah. There are maybe only two that date back to the 1600s that we're pretty sure were Swedish log cabins.
But you mean that, because that's what I heard somewhere, I don't know where I heard it, but somewhere in all this research that I've done, that even that log house that we look at as typical American, in the woods or in the prairie.
Right.
That's really inspired by the Finnish, Swedish style of building. Is that right?
Well, we do say that.
We do say that.
I was thinking in preparation for this, what I don't know is how many other ethnic groups also built log homes.
Only
I mean,
the
it's
Swedes.
very practical, right? But the Finnish log cabin construction is very different than the ones that we picture on the prairie, in that they squared off their logs and notched them. So they fit together, kind of Lincoln log-like. It's not that kind of notch, so I can't in an audio format like this describe it very appropriately. But the log cabins they were building didn't have the white material between the logs that we tend to picture.
Yeah.
But they were fit together more like a puzzle, so that you didn't have to use the stucco or the lath.
Isolation part of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, evidence of Sweden is everywhere around here in the colors blue and gold. The University of Delaware colors are blue and gold. The city of Philadelphia's flag.
If we leave Delaware, I just want some clues that I can say, look at that, that's Sweden. Look at that.
Well, I'm wearing an H&M shirt, but it doesn't look particularly Swedish because it's,
I know the brands,
so
but I was thinking...
mostly like incognito, but if you're finding Swedish American things, you're going to see Dala horses wherever you see proud Swedish Americans. And then there's a lot of Swedish American heritage through churches. The Covenant Church in America, the Free Church in America are Swedish founded denominations. But not all of them are so Swedish anymore. But yeah, mostly place names, I think.
I have to stay there in that subject a little bit. I want to ask you one more thing. If there's, regarding this subject of pointing things out, because I want some sort of inside information.
Okay.
Is there one thing you can pick in all of the United States that you think, I don't think people think that is Swedish. Is there something that comes to mind that, not the obvious things,
The one
when you look at it, when you see it, something that's a Swedish thing. But I got one.
The 3-point seat belt. That's one that we've started talking about here at the museum because we're going to feature it in our next exhibit about things that have impacted America that were from Scandinavia. So the 3-point seatbelt, people don't know, Volvo invented that and then made the patent generally available for free because it was so important as life-saving technology. So people don't know that. The modern one I tell people isn't something you're going to see at Spotify. Most Americans have no idea that Spotify is a Swedish company or Bluetooth. People don't know that Bluetooth, so a lot of technological stuff, but
I think that's how we turned out in the modern Sweden. We're taking big steps in technology.
Right.
And that usually happens below the surface. People don't think about it, they just use it.
Right. But even things like, to maybe most Americans, they don't recognize that this very clean, beautiful, modern design look, that bringing it to the masses was a very Swedish thing to do, right? To take high design. The modern designers in the U.S., some of them were trying to get it to the masses, but not all of them were. And that was, something that we definitely associate with Sweden, trying to get that. And even Swedish artists in America. We had an exhibit a couple years ago called Art for All. And some of the Swedes, like Birger Sanzane, who came to America to teach at Swedish American colleges, he was part of an art movement that was trying to make sure that every person had access to high quality art in their own environments, whether it was schools or homes or public buildings, that it wasn't just for the elite, but that art should be for everyone. So, that sort of ethos of good design, beautiful surroundings should be something for everyone. I attribute a lot to the Swedish people
but
in the 20th century.
I can see that, even though I'm from there, I can see that. But like for all people, when you're in the middle of something, it turns to normal,
right?
And then if it's normal, you want something else.
Of course.
If it's normal to have a Scandinavian design, for us it's a kitchen. It's almost like the joke, what do you call Chinese food in China? It's food.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But you brought something else as well.
Yeah, I just thought for the people who are looking on, who have a video, so here, even Americans don't know the geography of this area very well because Delaware is a very small state. So you can see the outline here. And basically this blue area along the Delaware River is really where the Swedes settled. And so this is Delaware today. This is Maryland. This is Pennsylvania. And this is New Jersey.
Exactly. And what we're looking at is a blue, almost blurry area in between those three.
Because we have no legal boundaries defined for the New Sweden colony. So when we draw it on maps, it's usually kind of a faded edge blob because the Swedes were really settling kind of sparsely along the rivers, not making big towns or cities, that they were really more farmers than anything else.
I know you're here as a representative for the historical story, but everybody's got a heritage, and especially in America.
Yes.
On the table, I have a map and a pen. So if you can pinpoint where your family from, or...
Fantastic. Well, I am both from my family, from Sweden, from Germany, and from Great Britain.
And now you live here in Philadelphia?
I live in Delaware, actually.
In Delaware?
My parents came from Rockford, Illinois, and Hastings, Minnesota. So very Swedish areas of the country. And I am half Swedish-American myself.
And if you were to say, this is home to me, do you go home somewhere, or are you home now, where you live now?
Well, I very much feel home in Delaware because I've lived there for over 30 years. But honestly, when I go back to the area of Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, my heart feels at home.
That's where I want you to put your signature.
Oh.
Where you feel at home.
Okay.
If you were to write a letter from here to home, what would you like to tell?
What would I like to tell if I were writing a letter from here to home? I would tell about how the Swedish America that I have discovered here in the Philadelphia and Delaware region is, I've learned so much. But it's not the Swedish American story that feels personal to me, which is much more the Swedish American story of the immigrants who came to the middle of the country. But it's all part of a continuous story, and so that makes it particularly interesting.
It's wonderful. I really appreciate that you took the time to join me.
This is where it began, and that's why the museum was founded here in 1926, to basically show all Americans, hey, Swedes aren't a recent immigrant group. We're not new immigrants like you're trying to keep out. We are the people who were here before the English. So I like to say, putting the Swedish flag in the ground of America.
Let me end on that note. I will quote you on that. We were the people who were here before the English.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you too, Martin. Good luck.
Thank you.
You have listened to Letters from America, a weekly road trip podcast celebrating the Swedish heritage in the United States. Produced in collaboration with the Embassy of Sweden in Washington, D.C., Volvo Cars USA, Volvo Trucks USA, and Airstream.